Welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and today we've got a little gentle. Um, we've got some thoughts over coffee, and so that'll be kind of like story time and announcements. We did Uncle Ron. We'd like to thank Ron Davidoff once again for donating to give people in our philosophy chat group free healings. From this time, me and Marcy are going to split it up because we did a lot of them. And so I will be posting that list rather than, because there's so many, rather than, there goes the light. Yes, I did get a new webcam. Yes, I have not put it up yet. I haven't had time. So it'll be this weekend. Hang on. Any moment now, it will go back to normal. The hell, man. There we go. Nobody move. All right. So I'm going to post the list of people, the list of winners on Philosophy on Telegram sometime today. Book solid after the show. Going to get to the emails at the end of the day, and I'm going to post those winners at the end of the day. Busy lady. And I want to thank Sue Rose once again. Sue Rose, I'm going to be giving you a free hour reading as soon as I remember to send that to you for typing up my Gentle notes. She is awesome. Okay, announcements out of the way. Oh, another announcement. Let's get this out of the way because I'm going to talk for a while. Go to jenniferfallaw.com if you'd like a healing or a reading. Just remember, if you're in dire straits, I'm going to get to you as fast as I can. I usually move people up if their healings are urgent, but I do not do emergency healings to save a life or a pet or anything like that. That is not fair. Yes, people do that, and I understand. You know, I'm not coming down on anybody, but you know, when it's Friday at 8:00 in the evening and you just finished everything and you're just like, oh, I can relax now. And somebody's like, oh my God, somebody's in the hospital. You got to go there now. You got to try. If somebody's on their deathbed, I can try, but it's probably too late. We just really want to gather in prayer for that. It's going to take more than me for that one. But if you'd like a reading, go to jenniferfallaw.com. But if you can't afford a healing, now people don't have to have readings, but if you can't afford a healing, email me anyway. All the payments are donations anyway. Okay. And if you are really in a bad spot and you're like, well, I just need some answers, can you, I'll throw you this amount of money that's less than a half hour. Can you do a 15-minute? I always work with people, I'm not going to say no, it's terrible. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Everybody that asked for free healings was on Philosophy on Telegram. And so if you are not on Philosophy on Telegram, that is my announcements channel. That is where I post my thoughts and the interesting news that I think is accurate there. So you want to follow that, but then you also want to get over in Philosophy chat because there's a lot of people there who are very knowledgeable, and we all gather around each other anytime something happens. We're all praying for you. Then from there, we've got Ron has his own chat. Mary's got her prayer group. Marcy's got Divine Healings chat. Susan's got her own channel there. And if you get to Philosophy chat on Telegram, you'll be able to find all those people. And if you really want to have some fun, go to Lily's Lounge in the evening because they're all a bunch of smartasses over there, and it's kind of fun. And that would be Ron and Batman over there and Barbie. Okay. Gentle for today. Not a whole lot. Seems pretty quiet, but this is interdimensional meditation for 2/29 leap year. I went into meditation, went to the 6th level of heaven. Archangel Michael and Gabriel were there. I talked to Gabriel. I said, RV news. Grain of salt. Okay. Notifications coming 3/10. March 10th. Don't start screaming at me that it's not tomorrow. It could be tomorrow. I could be wrong. There's always that possibility that I am wrong. But I got 3/10. As of this moment in time, apparently agreements have been signed. So there were some kind of changes possible. People are traveling home now. Then the implementation of new rules on how to proceed. So something was altered. Okay, something had to be agreed upon with that. I don't know if it's World Trade Organization or the big financial alliance meeting that has been going on. Now, for the news over the weekend, did my best on this one. Not a whole lot. What we want to look out for is the rest of the week and then through the weekend until I get back here. Strikes. Really going to start seeing some strikes now. Possible layoffs as well. We all know that's coming. Now, Eastern U.S. I really heard like Eastern Seaboard, that area, power outages possible this weekend. If you are in that area, make sure you got your batteries and your candles and everything else. It feels like there's going to be some power outages. Interestingly enough, Gabriel said to watch Mark Z for the rest of the week. At some point in time, he gets good news. All right, so we want to watch Mark Z. If you've never watched Mark Z, he is on, I think it's the original Mark Z, and it's on YouTube. So go there. News from Iraq. We will get some kind of news from Iraq. I saw the leader. I always forget his name. I believe it's al-Sudani. Okay. If I screwed that up, sorry. But I saw him when Gabriel was talking to me. In my mind, he's going to say something. There's news coming from him. Now, this could have been just for me. Turbulent skies, wind. Look out for tornadoes, Midwest, I believe. So we really want to be prepared for weather events this weekend. But then I walked outside to let the dog out, and we've got like a windstorm going on right now. It's pretty windy. So if I lose power, tree fell in the house or the lines or something. If you hear a big bang and I panic, probably won't happen. It's not that bad, but it was windy outside. So I don't know if that was for me or for everybody, but we really want to keep an eye out. Look at your weather. Be prepared. This is happening. The whole thing is happening. Interesting. Phil's live. I'm so happy he did that. I feel like that was a nod to me. If he watches me. I don't know if he watches me, but that'd be cool. I think it was last week. I think it was on Mike's show on Real News Live. I was saying, you know what? We need to look back at the Q posts now. We need to go back over because I felt like it was relevant now to look. For a long time it was kind of like blah, 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 Okay, we have no idea what's going on. But I think that's what was relevant. And so I said, maybe Phil will do something on it. And then boop, this week he did something on it. Now, I don't know if that was psychic or if he heard me. And that was okay, Jen, I'll do something on it. And I appreciate that, Phil. Thank you very much. That was good. That was very good. Now he's saying we're going to get news about the boogeyman. That's what I call him. That guy is the boogeyman. What the hell's his name? Damn dementia or menopause or whatever it is. I just forgot the dude's name. Anyway, if you watched, God, his son is Chester Bennington. What's his name, guys? I just totally lost my mind. Podesta. God. When I looked at that guy, the first time I saw that guy when he was working with Hillary Clinton, I'm like, I mean, how thin is that human suit? I mean, can anybody see the reptilian in there? Can anybody see the demon? I mean, this is like a demon walking around. That guy is the boogeyman. Okay. Anyway, he's dead. But it looks like we are coming up on an announcement of his arrest. And how exciting is that? Now, I don't know how far off that is. I asked, I didn't get any information on that, so maybe it's not my thing to reveal. Let's go ahead and let Phil cover that, or whoever's covering that. Could be his deal. But I enjoyed that live last night. And I don't give a crap what you think. And if you don't want me listening to Phil, but if you trust my instincts at all, I'm telling you. Yeah, he's an entrepreneur. Yeah, he gets in multi-level marketing plans. He is a genius when it comes to that. The man has done very well for himself. And yeah, he will put topics up and have shows to lead back into a possible marketing opportunity. But so what? Who cares? You have every choice in the world to listen to him or not, or to jump on board with those things or not. No, I don't believe he intentionally screwed anybody. The man, there's something true about what the man is saying. I don't get what all these haters are getting. You know, and I've even had people in readings try to convince me, oh, okay, well, this and that with the, you know, the teenager and all that. And I'm like, you don't think the deep state knows who this guy is and is trying to take him down? You don't think they can create everything to do so? I do. So I don't care. I'm going to trust my instincts on the situation. I will listen to whoever I want to. So do not email me with 100 emails today trying to tell me how I have been deceived. I don't give a crap. I trust my own instincts, and so should you. And I don't get into bashing people. And I don't believe people's, you know, oh, they did this and they did that. Oh, really? Were you there? Do you really know, or did you just listen to some jerk on the internet who thinks they know everything? I don't care. Absolutely impressive what he's done for himself, by the way. I studied marketing in college, so it's fun for me. It's fun for me to watch. It really is. Anyway, he's on to something. Keep an eye out. Now, he has to tell things in a way that tells you but doesn't tell you, and that's frustrating. So if you're not terribly observant, it can be confusing. Like he didn't say anything, but he actually did. Actually did say a lot. His mood yesterday tells you a lot too. He knows something's coming. He doesn't know everything. Doesn't know exactly how it's going to unfold. Neither do I. But the way we need to be with the truth community right now is cautious. But what have I been teaching you? Or pray to God for the truth. Help. Just like when you read the Bible. You read the Bible and you're supposed to sit with it and you're supposed to say, help me see the truth here. Help me see how this relates to my situation. And then you use your instincts. Okay? And my instincts really have never failed me unless, of course, I'm romantically involved with somebody. So, totally failed in that arena. Not all the time, but Anyway, let's get over to the yeah, there we go. Thoughts over coffee. Story time. This is my favorite part of the show because I do have a tendency to jump from one story to another and not circle back around to what I was originally talking about, my original point. That happens. Because I have so much to say, but I will try to do that. And if I don't do that, just ask me. Now, what was the point in all that? Okay, so let me just check the schedule and then we'll move on. We're good. We are good. Okay. Running 100 miles an hour today. I think that's why I'm getting these brain pauses. Like, what was I doing? Because I'm doing too many things at once. Okay. Thoughts over coffee. You can't make anybody believe. You can't make anybody believe anything. You can educate, you can advise, you can caution, but people are going to believe what they want to believe according to what they can handle. Okay? Now, our community, and I'm talking about the truther community, the faithful, and I'm not saying, the left isn't faithful. I'm just saying, the people who know more. And we've all gathered together for a long time and wrote this out together. And we have lost family members. You haven't really lost them. Okay? They're just like being brats. And there have been divorces, and there have been breakups, and there have been parents and family members and children and loved ones who have turned against you and gone their separate ways because their beliefs are polar opposite politically and than yours. And it's terribly sad. But you stick with what you know, and you pray for guidance. But you can't force people to believe how you do. And they just don't, they're not willing to gather or spend the time to have the information, to spend the time that you did to know. And when you present things that are shocking to them and possibly something that they can't emotionally handle, especially about vaccines, especially if they took one, because they're like, oh, no, that can't be true. Because I've got one in me, or several. Nope. Or they've lived their life believing a certain thing, and if you tell them something new, that's like, no, that's scary and wrong, and I can't handle that. Okay? And then we form these opinions of ourselves because of other people in our lives and what they now think of us. Well, those are uninformed opinions. They don't have enough information to really know. And so we pray for them. We pray for the relationship we have with them. We pray for ourselves, but we stand strong in what we believe. Never let someone else's lack of faith diminish yours. Okay? So the reason I'm going to tell this story, I'm going to talk about this, is because of what I hear time and time again in readings and talking to people that people are struggling with. Will they ever believe me? Will they ever know? Will they come back? Will they love me again? They still love you. Some of these people are narcissistic people, and you believing something, especially in your own home, you believing something that contradicts with what they believe. Well, that's just very disobedient, isn't it? And they're like, wait a minute. Are you starting to have a mind of your own? That is unacceptable. Okay. No. And they will fight you tooth and nail. They will try to break you down. They'll go to your friends and your family and tell everybody you're crazy and everything else. Yeah, there's some crazy people out there, but for the majority of us, no. Just informed. In a society, there must always be the dreamers. There must be the believers. There must be those who are strong enough to say, why not, and what if? They are the leaders. And the followers, if they've been following a certain way for too long, they won't listen. Okay? So, understand someday they will know. They may not come back to say, you know what? You're so smart and I'm an idiot and I'm so sorry, but you were right about everything. Probably not. But they'll probably do is get quiet and say, well, you want to go to lunch? That is an opportunity when you've been praying for peace in this relationship and to reunite with this person to say, yeah, let's just go to lunch. And then you allow them to ask. I don't care how demeaning they have been. You must be the wise one. And what happens when kids throw a fit? When they calm down and they come back around and they say, Mommy this or Mommy that, do you take the time to tell them how terrible they are and how bad that was and blah, 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 blah? No, we're moving forward. You say something like, well, maybe next time, just don't react so violently. Trust me a little more. But we let it go because we understand that children don't really know any better. Okay? And that's what we're dealing with. I've been on a spiritual journey, well, my whole life, yeah. Wasn't really aware of that for the whole time, but kind of. My mom used to tell everybody, she's so deep. I'm like, what does that mean? Long time ago, I've struggled with this kind of situation with my stepfather for a very long time. Took me many, many years to get to a place where he was not in control of my identity and my self-worth. A man who had his own business, a man who worshipped money and power more than anything, a man who was very nice to you as long as you're a good girl. As long as you don't do anything that contradicts what he thinks you should think, do, say, or act. Massive narcissist. But there's goodness in there too. So it was so confusing for such a long time because he would shower you with gifts at times, but there was always a payback. There was always a price to pay for that. he'd pull you in and compliment you, and oh, I'm going to be the best thing in the world, you're the best dad in the world for you. Sits us down. When my mom was getting together with us, and my dad had disappeared. He was an alcoholic. He came back, got recovered. That's a really good story. But at the time, he was gone. And he sat us down and said, I'm going to do everything I can to be the dad that, has disappeared in your life. And my sister was all over the thing. I was just kind of like, okay, that's cool. I need to find my dad. But I didn't, I wouldn't. He wanted us to stop caring about dad in order to be fully accepted by him. I wouldn't. Okay, strike number 1 for Jen. So, still love the dad. Okay. And I searched for him and I did find him. But, I remember one day, circling back to the original point of the topic, the conversation. Small, rich, but rich man, sitting in the formal dining room at the end of a very long, at the time, marble table with his very expensive crystal glass, drinking his scotch. And I sat down at the other end of the table. I think I was eating or something. And he looked at me and he says, you know what, Jennifer? I thought you were smart. What's all this about you believing in God? And I'm like, my first thought as a 15-year-old was, and raised in a Catholic family, was, why wouldn't you want a 15-year-old to believe in God? I have never heard of such a thing. How shocking. I just kind of paused and there was this long pause and I could feel like this laughing behind the scenes in his face. And I'm like, awesome, Mom. Thank you for marrying an evil man. What am I dealing with right now? I mean, all these thoughts go through my head as I'm sitting there as a 15-year-old, and I just stared at him. He goes, why don't you prove to me, if you're so smart, that he exists? And I said, why don't you prove to me that he doesn't? And then it was on. Battle between Bill and Jen forevermore. It was on. And I just got up and left. And forevermore, I was the stupid one. And he knows I was the smartest one. But I was the stupid one because I believed. And any time that he saw that in me, and anytime I started shining too bright, and anytime that I did something really good, he would diminish me to the family and later on to my own children. That's where he screwed up, Bill. And I knew there was no point in trying to prove to him that God exists because he would not accept it. He would not listen. He would not. It would just give him ammunition to turn around and use against me so that he could be right. And that is sad because he is now an older man with a lot of health problems. And I'm sitting over here thinking, when that guy passes and he shows up in my house and he says, hey, can you cross me over? I mean, that's going to be the moment, isn't it, God? That's going to be when I'm just like, no. But, yes, I'll still do it. God. Most frustrating person ever. It's the one that either pull you in and make you think everything's okay, and just when you need it the most, he'll get you. So if I ever borrowed money from him, if I, lots of stories on this one, like if I ever borrowed money, I kept a receipt book. Like the white, pink, and yellow receipts. And every time I gave him a payment, I would have him sign the receipt book because he's the one to come back and said, "You never paid me for that." "Oh, yes, I did. Here we go. We've got the payment receipt, right?" Pain in the ass. But why is that story relevant? Because that's the kind of attitude we're dealing with with as truthers and people on the other side. It doesn't matter how much you sit down at this point in time and try to explain to them what's going on, what has really happened. Because of the way this, like Phil said, this psychological thing is gone behind the scenes. And the news with the opposite story and the constant programming. The news tells people, I'm the smart one. And so people say, oh, they're the smart ones. All right, well, listen, followers. There's no point unless they ask, unless they're open to it. Nothing divine is forced, okay? In explaining everything again and again, because they will only use it against you. Wait till they ask. Pretty soon they'll be asking some, and then you tell them. But don't start out with the horrific stuff, because then you're just going to throw them back. They're just going to be like, oh my God, I can't handle that. Soft, tell it, give them the kid story, kind of explain it in a simple way, and then get it. And if they ask for more detail, then get into more detail. But sometimes you just can't force people to listen. You just can't make anyone believe. I can't make anybody believe in what I do. I can't make anybody believe in God. I can inspire people to do so. I'm always trying to do so. But you cannot. If you're polar opposites and somebody sits down at the end of that table with that glass in their hand and puts you on the spot, why don't you prove it to me? Can't. You have to find out for yourself. So, yeah, that was an interesting later half of childhood and into the adulthood. And I couldn't understand why my Catholic mother, who believed, just shines so bright, so loving and giving and everything else, would choose to be with a narcissistic atheist. I was like, I think it was just for the money. But you could tell that she loved him. But did she allow herself to love him for the money? Maybe. She's paying the price for that. Definitely. I remember, people like this, narcissists, are the extreme. Sometimes we don't even realize it. And sometimes we go through our life thinking, constantly trying to prove ourselves to this person. And when you do that, when you keep fighting like that, they are in control of you. They own your identity. And people suffer endlessly doing that. And we were good kids. I mean, we didn't really get in trouble. Well, my brother got in trouble. Randy was the wild one. Kind of still is. And he was always the black sheep. Now I'm black sheep too. So we're like, we hang out together. But I remember one time I was trying so hard to be the good girl in my young adult life. I was working full time. Took on 16 units at night for like 7 years. At this moment in time, I was still working and living at home. I don't know, when did I move out? I think I moved out when I was 21. So the story I told the other day about living with my boyfriend when I was like 9, no, it was after 21. I thought about that. I remember, the consequences were so severe for doing anything so small for me after that confrontation with him. And there may have been a time when I told him to go F himself also, and that's probably not okay. But there was. He called my mother the C word. I mean, what are you supposed to do? 15 was a big year for me with him. So I remember, I don't know what age it was. I mean, I was running 100 miles an hour. It's my favorite game to burn my candle at both ends. But I think I was just always seeking that approval. Like, oh, wow, yeah, you're a winner now. You're doing good. You're doing a good job. Never came. Because from day one, once that war was started between us at that table, anything I did could not be recognized as good. You had to turn it around and make it a negative thing. And so I was working full time and going to school full time at night. And one day, I had a couple hours. No, that was a different story. Oh, okay. So I didn't get in trouble for much. The things I got in trouble for was not that I didn't do my chores. It was that I didn't do them exactly on time. I had to feed the dogs at 4:00. You had to have the dishes done at like 4:30 or something like that. And so it's like I had to rearrange my schedule in order to get my chores done. And then, so I would do them early if I had to leave. Okay. And so one day I did, this is my point here is that people will take anything that makes sense to them and they see you doing positive things in your life if they are hell-bent on proving you wrong. We've seen it in the truther community. We've seen it with the bashing of other people. So I remember I had gone to work and I knew how to go to school. And then I was going to go out with my friends. So I rushed home, did all my chores, cleaned the kitchen. I mean, and at that point in time, I was the last one home and it was a lot of work and the kitchen was huge. And I was basically Cinderella in the house. So I rushed home. I did all my chores. I got ready. I went to school. I went to see my boyfriend. Actually, I think it was probably my boyfriend. And then I came home and it was like midnight. Curfew. And at the time, everything, he didn't speak to me directly. He would speak to my supervisor, which was my mother. And so if I got in trouble for something, she'd get mad at me because she got in trouble because I did something. Emotional manipulation. So I got home like at midnight and there was a computer printed out carbon copy notice on my door. Where you got the little perforated edges that you got to tear off, and with the dots on it, I used to have. And it said, so while I was gone, they had gone in and made this huge dinner. He told her not to pick up her plate. He made it the entire kitchen was a disaster. There was food and everything. Everyone. My mother doesn't cook like that. I know it was him. They didn't even pick up their plates. The food was still there. I mean, who doesn't do that? Who doesn't clear off their plate? I mean, it's like what you're supposed to do. I mean, and I came home at midnight, and the notice said that I had not done my chores. And that and I was not here to clean up after them. And if I did not have that kitchen clean, but not only did he want the kitchen clean, he wanted me to scrub the grout on the tile floor, which was probably the size of the average living room and kitchen put together. It was a huge kitchen. White tile, grout. Oh, with a toothbrush. By 4 a.m., before he woke up to leave for work, then the next day, all of my stuff would be out on the front lawn and the locks would be changed. So I did it. I got no sleep. And then I went to work and to school and everything else the next day. But this is how someone who's narcissistic or who has a deep-rooted desire to get you and to break you down and to push you hard, attachments, demons will come at you. So I stood there in front of the door and I'm thinking, well, I could probably live in the car. I really hate it here anyway. But I love my mom. And it's going to cause a big problem if I don't get down there and I don't do it. So I just went and did it 100 miles an hour, probably got a couple hours sleep, and then I went on my way. But I sure as hell wasn't going to let him have any more ammo to hold against me. Okay. So strength lessons came all the way through life for me. And don't get me wrong, there has been so much joy, so much laughter, so many friends, so much love in my life. I have been surrounded and taken care of. But when you see people out there now really attacking somebody like that for a very small reason, or maybe even no reason at all, I would take a step back and look more at the person who's attacking than the one who's being attacked. Because sometimes these people, you don't even know why they do it, and sometimes they just don't like your light. Why don't you prove to me God exists? And I said, why don't you prove to me he doesn't? If you're so smart. Faith is not easy, people. I say this because very shortly we will have opportunities to interact with the people who turned against us. We'll have an opportunity to say, I told you so, and be the attacker, or stand strong in our faith and what we know, just like Jesus would do. What would Jesus do? He would put out his hand and embrace that person, and he'd say, okay, now you're ready. Now you're ready to know, and that's okay. And I understand. Now, let's talk about Phil. Because everybody's coming at me like, oh, don't listen to him. Blah, 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 blah. I do what I want. Okay? This little stories that I've told you, there are many. There have been many opportunities for me to decide to be controlled, to act out, to believe lies, to deny my faith, all along the way. And this is not my first day at the fair, people. So when you come to me and you say, oh, no, you should believe some movie that's put out. You should believe this. You should believe that. I didn't watch the damn movie. I don't know the man personally, and neither do you. I don't feel that from him. Yeah, I know what he's doing. He's an entrepreneur, and I see it. I see the whole thing. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's coming. Yeah, we got the intel. Bring it back around. Yep, bring it back. There we are. We're into the business. I know what he's doing. It's pretty good, actually. I have to say. But I'm aware of that. I could turn it off then if that's boring to me. I don't care. I like him. I don't know. I just can't help but like him. You know? But when people come at you and tell you that you should believe what they believe, what have we done in this situation with the liberals and the conservatives and everything else? We said no. But aren't we as strong in personal situations? No. You need to be. We need to use our own instincts. We need to look somebody in the eyes, look their picture in the eye, and see, what do I feel here? It's the same reason I know that Biden's not Biden. Because when I looked in the eyes of the real Biden, oh my God, the rage there is ridiculous. When I look in the Biden that's there right now, I see calculated military intelligence. It's doing a job. We have to lead by example now. We really do. I mean, that's where we're going. That's the whole point. So, do what you want. Trust your own instincts. If you want to watch somebody, watch them. If you want to believe something, believe it. But each and every one of us knows what truth feels like. Hang on. I think that was my stomach growling. Sorry about that. I'm waiting for the stupid cam. Yes, I will put the new webcam up soon. Stop it. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just shine at times. That would be cool. That would be totally cool, wouldn't it? That'd be totally cool. Freak people out. We have to look for the goodness in individuals. If you feel something wrong, oh God, this is annoying. Just give it a second. Let's just all sit. Let's have a moment of silence. It's not readjusting. Why is that not happening? Wait. There. Okay. Okay. No, I will not move. What time is it? All right, we got a little time. I'm not even moving. I don't know what to do. Anyway, just listen. I had it with that shit. All right. You've learned to left now. You've seen the dark side, and you've felt and seen the good. And you know the difference. And so when somebody comes to you, first of all, and tells you, prove to me that it's all true, not until you're ready. Not until you really will accept what I'm saying. It's a waste of my time. They're just looking for ammo to use against you. Number two, when somebody tells you, everybody's always running around coming to me, is this person bad? Is that person bad? Is that, it's like, what do you think? What do you feel? It's not up to me to tell you if somebody's good or bad or wrong or right or anything. It's up to you to decide. This is part of this journey. So that when you're off on humanitarian projects, when you're the one that people come to, when you're the leader in this new world and you counsel people and children and everything else, this is practice you need to know. You need to know the difference. You need to look at more what you feel to be true. What does truth feel like? What do lies feel like? What is deception? You need to tune in. Anyway, what else can we talk about? Let's see if I can get up. Do not set the camera off. Okay. All right, let's see if we got any questions. Somebody says they're Jesus. Probably not true. Okay. Is that what I just read? Who says he is Jesus? I ran away from that. As far as spiritual gurus and things like that, well, I, of course, don't know everything. I trust my instincts. And if I feel a lot of ego coming out of there, and they're saying a lot of fearful things, that gets in the way of divine guidance. It really does. That's why Jesus told us to remain humble. Because what are we doing with ego? We're taking the suggestions from the dark side. Picture that shadow figure standing off to the right, throws you a big red ball. Let it drop. We turn the other cheek. Why did Jesus say it? Turn it. That's why. Doesn't want you to get so wrapped up in the negative thought patterns because it's suggestions from the dark side. And when you do get too wrapped up in ego, you're gonna, you're gonna have a lot more. You're gonna hear it in their words. It's gonna be fearful. It's gonna be like, oh my God, the sky is falling, and you better listen to me. Even the way they interpreted Jesus's words, and some people won't like this, but you think about it for a second because it doesn't fit in with what I know of Jesus. I look the man in the face every day. Well, he's God, but no one comes to the Father except through me. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. People interpreted it that way so that they will go only to that church. Jesus came to tell us that God loves us and showed us in so many ways of that unconditional love. I believe what he said and the way it should have been interpreted was, at the time, people were coming to Jesus and they were like peasants, and he was with the poor and the lowly and and there was such a divide between the rulers and the accepted and the peasants and the workers and everything else, and they were taught that they aren't worthy of God, that they're so bad and so lowly, and your bloodline is not good enough, and all this other crap. I hate the whole bloodline thing. No. What he said was, And people would come up to him and said, well, I can't. I would never be accepted. The Father would never accept me. And what he said was, then come through me. Do you feel the difference? If you don't feel worthy, then come through me. That's Jesus. So, we're coming up on a time. We got Easter coming. We're coming up on a time where we're going to have to remember this. Not to catch the ball. People will throw a ball at you. They will insult you. They will call you crazy. And they're going to start doing it in the news because they're going to try and justify that these minions they're sending out to create chaos after this financial flip are the people who are outraged at the change. Okay? They're outraged at the, political change. And they're going to try to demonize every single one of you. You stand strong. Stick to what you know. And do not let that tear you down. You know what truth feels like. You just felt it, didn't you? The difference in the way that I said, nobody comes to the Father through me, but through me. And then come through me. That's what truth feels like. And so when you're watching with these people, when you're listening to these people, you just tune in, not too close to the really bad ones, but just tune in enough. And you'll know. You'll know what their intent is. Now, if you're sleeping with them, probably not. But this is how that goes. Because I'm just addressing these things because of what I'm hearing from people lately. How much time do we have? Okay. Another story. I'm not doing questions. Let's do another story. Damn it. How do I do that? How do I get that? All right. So, why is it that when we're in a personal relationship with somebody or starting a relationship, how have we been so fooled? Time and time again, people beat themselves up because they have been fooled. And what have I taught you? You have a choice in every moment of every day to create your reality. Example. It had been after my husband was killed by a drunk driver, it'd probably been 2.5 years, something like that. I decided to date. My brother's like, you got to get out there. You got to date. And I'm like, crap. It's all right. So, I was 36 and needed to move on with my life. So what happened? My late husband was just very funny. Go get it, attitude. He'd make it happen. All right, whatever it was. Very smart. So I kind of liked that personality. I liked that, somebody who's just like, you know what? You're beautiful and I'm going out with you. I was just kind of like, oh, that's awesome. You're awesome. And so, yeah. So I was drawn to the narcissist, right? My first husband wasn't a narcissist, but this guy was. This guy was in the worst way. Okay, so I would date him when the kids were at grandma's. I didn't want to meet my kids, and finally, the time had come that we were going to be intimate, okay? And I know we were standing out on the deck at my house. Kids weren't there. And I was moving in and we were going to kiss, right? And I looked into his eyes and in my own voice, I heard snake. And I was like, what? No, that can't be right. It can't be true. Why? Because I'm not done with this yet. So what did I do? Did I back off and say, oh, I'm sorry? I'm going to avoid this whole terrible situation and not be with you anymore. No, I'm still like, oh, that can't be true. I'm going to deny that. I'm going to deny my instincts because I want to find out for myself. And did I find for myself? Yes, I did. He was one of the worst snakes that I have ever encountered. Dude had like 3 phones. Cheater, big time. Was I completely fooled? No. I chose not to listen. And we do it time and time and time again. Why? Because we're either can't handle that right now, don't want to hear that right now, try to make people be what we need them to be. And when we get those internal thoughts, those warning signs, we dismiss them because we're not done with it yet. We're not done with it yet. And that is a choice. And we forget that. And along the way, especially early in a relationship, that's why I say, don't be like a nag, but if something really bothers you early in a relationship, address it nicely. Say that's unacceptable. I just can't do that. Because people will let things go over and over again. They'll deny what they're feeling, they'll deny their instincts and everything, and then it turns into a big problem later, and they look back and they said, I don't know how I didn't see this. Well, you did. Just didn't want it to happen then. So, you guys have become very smart, very intuitive, researching, looking, finding the truth. So much so that we call ourselves truthers. So you should know what the truth feels like. And when you are listening to a podcast, or if you feel like when Phil comes on, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go listen to Phil. I feel good about it. I feel lighthearted. I'm like, this is entertaining. Yeah, he's a goof. So am I. You know? I don't feel that dark caution snake. I don't feel that. If I do, there are a lot of people listen to that I can't watch. I'm not going to say their names, but I do feel that snake. So my whole part in this whole thing, yeah, I come in here and I give you guys answers and I tell you what's coming because I'm just kind of like, okay, everybody stay, don't panic, don't fall apart. We're still there, we're still going, cheerleader. Everything's gonna be okay, strengthen your faith, get closer to God. I swear to God, we're gonna make it. Okay? That's my job lately. And for quite a while now. But I think I've been learning these things my whole life for this time in my life and what will come after. Because is it important for me to be the one who goes out there and has all the answers and makes the connections and does all that? I can't do all that. Not for everyone. I'm here to teach you to do it. That is why I do the psychic development. That is why I do the shows. That is my sneaky, underhanded, ulterior motive in everything is to bring you back and closer to God, because that is where all the answers are. To make you remember what it feels like to function as a soul. Because there's been something inside me, however small, this whole time. Who remembers? Maybe just a little more than the average person, but I remember. And we, through our programming and through all the crap that's thrown at us, have forgotten who we really are. And waking up is just remembering. It's remembering how to function as a soul. So let's work on that, shall we? Most of you are so good. I mean, I'm constantly impressed by you guys. Constantly impressed, you know. But this is my soapbox, and I'm just going to tell my story right now, because all I can do is share with you the experiences and the lessons I've learned and the questions I've asked and the answers I've received. And as far as I know at this point in time, it's real. It's real. It's all happening. And it's about to get bumpy, and it's about to, I just feel it coming. It's about to get really good and really bad at the same time. So we're going to have that one side of humanity that sees everything as really terrible. And there's going to be us over here like, just wait for my cue, man. Just waiting for my cue to come in and tell you what's going on. Okay? But just remember, you can't, nothing divine is forced. Even when, like, I'm Catholic, that's I can only tell you about what I know of that church. But, like, even when you try to convert to be Catholic, they don't want you there unless you really want that. In the adult RCIA classes and in everything else, that's why they wait until kids are confirmed. Catholic school, they confirm them earlier, but I think they have more time. They're more immersed in the program. But they really want to make sure that you are serious about that faith. Okay? Some of them will come back to you. All of them will see it. Some of them will admit it, and some won't. We'll just have to see how that plays out. But to be the I told you so and to throw it back at them, you're no better than they are. Take the high road, turn the other cheek, don't catch that ball. Okay? What would Jesus do? And that's how we should act. It always sounds like I'm coming down on everybody, but, I just share what I learn along the way and have thoughts, and that's all there is to it. It's really probably not going to change, so I'm really not going to apologize for that. And I might sound like a know-it-all most of the time, but I just have a lot to say. And I've gotten to a place in my life where everybody asks me questions constantly, all day long. It's like taking finals all day long. Got to be right. It's important stuff. Okay? And so when somebody says something, I'm like, oh, yeah, because this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And I sound like a know-it-all. But, hey, maybe you might want to listen. Because my intentions are good. They're true. I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I just feel it coming. I feel all of this coming. Now, some things might be quiet this weekend. I feel like we're going to get some news about the financial situation. Political is ramping up to pull everybody out. Interesting that Gabriel said to watch Mark Z. So he's supposed to have something soon. I haven't watched him a couple days. I really don't get time to tune in. I really should. Sometimes after dinner or while I'm making dinner, I'll tune in because I want something to listen to. But mornings are really busy for me. Anyhow, I think I got to get going. My faith has been tested time and time again. And I'm not saying my faith is stronger than yours. But I can say, for me, for myself, without comparing it to anybody else, it's strong. It had to be. And I have been presented with situations in my life that absolutely prove to me that God and Jesus are real. Society will try to convince you that it's never going to get any better, that the bad guys win, that what you believe is all fantasy. Just remember that stepfather sitting at the end of that table. Why don't you prove to me that it's true? I thought you were smart. They'll play on your emotion. And if you're a truther, what you will find is you will find your way back to the ultimate truth, that everything is real somewhere, and that God and love and the good guys are real too. Okay, guys, I'm going to get going. I've got a full day of readings and all kind of emails, and going to post the winners of the healings. We're putting out 60 healings, 60 free healings between me and Marcy. Because Ron came to me and said, can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Burning that candle at both ends. But we're doing a lot of good for people, Marcy and I. Susan's over there doing her good too. Look for opportunities in your life. Look for the joy. Look for opportunities in your life to give if you can, even if it's just a kind word, to resist falling for that negative influence. Drop that ball when somebody comes to you and says, oh, you shouldn't like that person. You should believe this, this, and that because I watched this video or I did that. Blah, blah. Who the hell would spend so much time to attack somebody like that? And why? Is it the person? Or is that the shadow figure that threw them that ball? Playing ball with the dark side. Anybody of really good, true intentions wouldn't spend their time doing that. All right, guys. Gotta go. I'm going to post the winners for the healings on Fallawsophy on Telegram today. It's a long list. I have to split it up between me and Marcy. It was going to take too much time and be really boring to say everybody's name on the show today. So I'm not doing it that way. Go to Fallawsophy on Telegram. Join us all there. Very loving, positive community and chat. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next time.